You ever walk outside, coffee steaming in your hand, birds just starting to chatter, and suddenly realize your life just took a left turn into crazy town? That was me the morning I found my fence missing. Not knocked down, not storm damaged, just gone. Posts yanked clean out of the dirt like teeth. My yard wide open like some kind of public park. And standing there with her little clipboard, smug as a cat that just ate the canary, was Doris, HOA president, Queen Bee, and my personal nightmare. She didn't even bother hiding the smirk. "Well, Mr. Truebull," she said, pen clicking like a metronome of doom, "your fence was in violation of HOA code number 23, subsection B. We had it removed. You'll be receiving the bill." That was the moment I knew this wasn't just about a fence. This was about control. And if she thought I was rolling over, well, she had another thing coming. See, I'd built that fence myself. 2 weekends, a pile of lumber, and a back that hasn't been the same since. It wasn't fancy, just cedar planks and posts sunk deep. Strong, straight, kept the coyotes out, kept my dogs in, and marked the one thing I valued more than anything, my line. Doris had been after me about it since the day the first post went in. She'd wander up, lips pinched, telling me it was too tall or not the right stain, or my personal favorite, too rustic for the neighborhood aesthetic. I'd tell her the same thing every time. "Ma'am, my property, my fence. Don't like it, don't look at it." Well, apparently, she didn't like that answer, because while I was at work one day, she got the HOA board to vote, hired a crew, and stole it out of my ground. No warning, no letter, just bare dirt where my sweat and time had stood. You think it stopped there? Oh no, that was just round one. 2 days later, I get a letter taped to my door like a scarlet letter. HOA stationery, fancy logo, notice of violation. They fine me $100 a day for unapproved structures. Structures? You mean a fence you already stole? I called the number at the bottom. Guess who answered? "That's the rule, Mr. Truebull. You can appeal at the next board meeting. Meanwhile, fines continue to accrue." Click. And that was the game. Every day, another $100. They thought they'd bleed me dry, force me to bow, maybe even sell my place to someone who play ball. But they didn't count on one thing. I don't bow. Now, I could have blown my stack, but here's the thing. Rage feels good for about 30 seconds. After that, it's useless. So I cooled off, sat at my kitchen table with a pot of black coffee and that HOA handbook, 48 pages of legalese, fine print, and contradictions. And there, buried in section 14, subsection D, was my golden ticket. Water features are permitted, so long as they do not exceed property boundaries and are maintained in a safe condition. Water features. See, the HOA could dictate fences. They could dictate paint colors, mailbox height, even the angle of your lawn gnomes. But water? Whole different category. That's when it hit me. If they didn't want a fence, fine. I'd give them something else. It started as a joke in my head. Hell, I'll build a moat. But the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Digging a trench around my yard? Perfectly legal. Filling it with water? Legal. Lining it with rocks and landscaping? Legal. And best of all, it was functionally the same as a fence. Coyotes wouldn't cross it. Dogs wouldn't leave it. And Doris? Oh, she hated it with every fiber of her HOA soul. So, I went to work, rented a backhoe for the weekend. My buddy Earl came over with his pickup and a cooler of beer, and we spent 2 days tearing up turf like we were prepping for medieval war. Dirt flying, neighbors gawking, Doris pacing at the edge of the street like she was watching a slow-motion crime. By Sunday evening, I had a trench 6 feet wide and 3 feet deep, circling my property line. By the following week, a water truck came and filled it. I landscaped the edges with river rock, tossed in a little bridge I built from reclaimed timber, and stocked it with koi fish just to rub salt in the wound. Ladies and gentlemen, I had a moat. The first letter came 3 days later. Cease and desist water installation. I mailed back a copy of their own handbook with section 14 highlighted in neon yellow. Next came a personal visit. Doris, 2 board members, and some guy in a cheap suit who introduced himself as legal counsel. "This is outrageous," he barked, pointing at the moat. "It's a liability." "Funny," I said, sipping my coffee. "Your handbook calls it a water feature. Liability's on me, not you. So unless you want to buy some koi feed, you're trespassing. They stormed off like hornets kicked out of their nest. But they didn't stop. Letters piled up, threats of lawsuits, even a fake safety inspection where they tried to claim my bridge wasn't up to code. Only problem? I'd had every step documented. Photos, receipts, even a landscaper's report labeling it a decorative water feature. They were running out of moves. It all came to a head at the quarterly HOA meeting. Packed clubhouse, every neighbor in a folding chair, waiting for the fireworks. Doris strutted up front, like a general leading troops. She launched into a speech about dangerous precedents, unsightly landscaping, and how my moat threatened the harmony of the community. When she finally called me up, I didn't argue, didn't yell. I just handed the stack of evidence to the secretary. Handbook section highlighted, photographs, letters from experts, even a signed statement from the county inspector confirming it met every requirement. The room went dead quiet. Then, from the back, Earl hollered, "Looks better than your yard, Doris." Laughter broke out. Even a few board members chuckled. The lawyer shuffled his papers, muttered something about no clear violation, and sat down. And just like that, the vote went my way. The moat stayed. You should have seen Doris's face, tight as a drum, lips white. She'd lost. And the best part? The story spread. Folks started swinging by just to see the moat house. Kids loved feeding the koi. Neighbors waved more. And funny enough, a few of them started pushing back on their own HOA fines and nonsense. My little stunt turned into a neighborhood morale booster. As for me, I sit on my porch most evenings, dogs at my feet, watching the water glint in the setting sun. The fence they stole is long forgotten. The moat? It's a reminder. See, here's the thing. It was never really about cedar planks or koi fish. It was about a line. My line. Doris thought she could move it, erase it. But some lines you don't cross. Not with a clipboard, not with a lawsuit, not with all the HOA votes in the world. You stand your ground. You get creative. You use their own rules against them. And in the end, you win, not just for yourself, but for every neighbor who's sick of being pushed around. So now I'll throw it back to you. What would you have done in my shoes? Fight fire with fire, or roll over and let them win? And have you ever tangled with an HOA or authority figure who tried to overstep? Drop your story down in the comments. I read every one. And hey, subscribe if you want more tales of fences, moats, and the stubborn streak that keeps folks like us standing tall.